2023 Chicago Marathon is officially in the past, a memory that I'm sure to remember for a very long time. But before I let the sights and sounds drift away, I'd like to share with you what the weekend was like and how my race played out. What's going on, guys? My name is Chris. I'm a runner and YouTuber that likes to talk about running, and today we are going to talk about my Chicago Marathon weekend. And if you're new to this channel, first of all, welcome. This channel is coming to you from an average Midwest runner who wants to document and share what it's like to grow in this amazing running community. I'd love to share my story with you in as many as possible, so please subscribe, comment below, and like this video for more content. So my Chicago weekend started on the Thursday before the marathon. Me, my wife, and our daughter, Harper, we all packed into her car and we actually drove to Chicago. I live in Carmel, which is just north of Indianapolis, so it was actually like a 2-hour, 45-minute drive. So we just drove up I-65, listened to a few murder podcasts, and just headed straight to the convention center. Which is about 3.5 miles from our hotel. And so we went straight to the convention center and went to packet pickup. There I got my bib. I got my official Chicago Marathon racing shirt. And then we checked out some of the booths. The expo was really cool. It had pretty much every major running brand. Hoka, Saucony, On was there, Nike, of course. Asics had a really cool setup. I wanted to drop all of the money and buy all the things, but I knew that I wanted to check out a few different stores that probably weren't going to be at the expo. So we just walked around, checked things out for a little bit, and then we went back to our car because we chose not to drive from the expo. Sorry, we chose not to go to the hotel and then walk to the expo because it was over 3 miles away, and that's a lot of walking, especially a few days before a marathon. So we got to our hotel probably around, I want to say 2:30, 3 o'clock Chicago time. Went up, checked the room out. My daughter always loves seeing the hotel room and hanging out in hotels for some reason. I guess we all did when we were kids. We got up there, we unpacked, and then we headed downstairs. There was a restaurant in the lobby that was awesome, called Elephant and Castle, which is kind of like an old school like pub feel. They had like soccer games on and a couple of like massive bars, but it was also family friendly, so it was perfect for us. So after we checked in, we went downstairs and had a bite to eat. I think I had a flatbread. And then after that, we headed out to walk around and look at some of the pop-up shops. The two that I wanted to check out the most were Tracksmith, which was, I think, like a mile away. It wasn't too bad. And then another probably 3/4 of a mile down Michigan was Bandit, and I wanted to check that shop out as well. Headed inside, talked to a few of the guys who were working there, just about the race and kind of the stuff that they had on hand. Picked up a hoodie while I was there, and then we just got back to the hotel, and we kind of just hung out for the rest of the night. I knew that the next day I had a couple of shakeout runs that I wanted to hit, and so we just kind of hunkered down and took it easy for the rest of the evening. We did walk out to the pier that night because we wanted to show our daughter what it looked like, the lake and everything. And that it got really cold on Friday night, like super cold on the lake. So that was kind of nerve-wracking. I was thinking like, man, I hope it's not like this on Sunday morning. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. It felt pretty good. So anyways, got back to the hotel, hunkered down, and then the next morning I woke up around 7:30 so that I could head over to Millennium Park to hit my first shakeout run, which is with Running with Jane. She is a running coach on YouTube. She's also a fellow YouTuber. Check out her channel. I'll leave a comment, or I'll leave a link below so you can head straight over there. But I've been watching her for the last probably year and a half. and she kind of uploads like help and how-to guides for runners who are marathon training and trying to get over some of the common things that you would expect to find during your marathon training. And she also just gives insights into her kind of personal journey and what it's been like training for like Boston, for instance. She's ran Boston a few times now. And it's just, she's kind of been like a well of inspiration and information that I've gone to as I've become a runner over the last couple of years. And I saw on her Instagram channel that she was having a Shakeout run, and I absolutely wanted to meet her. It was definitely one of the top things on my to-do list in Chicago. So 8:30, went and did the Shakeout run with Jane. I got to run with her for like a mile. I kind of hogged her all to myself for a little bit, but I just had so many questions and was generally just super excited to meet her, and I thought that was it was just so cool to do that. Got a few photos with her. I think I'm in a couple of photos on her Instagram too, so that was a lot of fun. What sucked was right before that run started, my GoPro extension stick broke. So it's the second time that's happened, and I'm not a Boy Scout anymore, and so I did not have one ready to go. So as soon as her Shakeout was done, I ran over to the nearest Target and went inside thinking I could just grab a new one, and they did not have what I was looking for there. They did have like a small selfie stick that's for like an iPhone, and I thought, okay, maybe I can use that to grab the GoPro, and no, it didn't work. So. And it sucked really bad because then my next location was Kafuzi's Run Club run over by the Bean. And I was like, of course this is happening right now. It's the second time I've actually run with Kafuzi. I ran with him back at the Puma Forever Run in Boston. And then this is the first time I got to run with his running club. And so I showed up there, and when I got there, there were probably maybe a couple of dozen people, if that, when I first arrived for the Shakeout run. But within about like 15 minutes, it felt like 100 people showed up. And then Thomas with Believe in the Run, he kind of had a little entourage of runners with him, and they showed up for this run. And then moments later, Ben Parks, who he's another fellow YouTuber and runner that I was just hoping to get a chance to meet. I didn't even know that Believe in the Run were going to be at this, so I wasn't even expecting to meet like anybody from that crew. But and there they were. They all showed up. They brought their crew. This group of people probably turned into a couple hundred. And so the plan with Kafuzi's run was to run, I think it was a little less than 3 miles north along the lakefront, and then over to I think it was Lumati's pizza place. And there, Asics and Kafuzi had provided the runners with a cool Pizza Kafuzi shirt to commemorate the occasion, and then also had some deep dish pizza available for everyone running. I naturally took the opportunity during this run to try to meet some of the people that I thought might be there, and that in fact were. So I did run. I ran a little bit with Ben Parks. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I ran a little bit with Ben Parks. I got to talk to him a little bit, got him to do his famous YouTube intro, which you can see here.
What do you say when you start your YouTube channel? Every video?
Oh,
it's the best.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Yeah, I don't know when I started doing that, but people seem to really like it.
It's the best. Everyone knows exactly who you are.
And then I ran with a guy out of Austin who was going to be trying for a sub 3-hour marathon. I'm not sure if he got it or not, but he seemed like he was in a good place and he had a great plan. So, and the weather on Saturday, or the weather for the marathon was fantastic. So I'm sure he did just great. And then, yes, I ran with him to the pizza place, got there, got to meet a couple of fellow runners that were, had big goals for Sunday, that were big fans of Kafuzi and the online running community. So I sat and had lunch with them. That was really cool. And then Thomas from Believe in the Run popped over. So I asked him a question about like what people should expect or be ready for with the race. You can see that here.
We're in Chicago. My tip is to spectate like I'm doing. That way there's no pressure and you'll just have a good time and you get a party like you ran the marathon because you get to celebrate with everybody and your legs feel fine. So that would be my tip.
I'm running.
Big mistake.
And then after speaking with Tom, who is super down to earth and super cool to talk to, Kafuzi popped over. And so I asked Kafuzi if he had any tips for a race day in Chicago, which you can see here.
This is obviously not your first rodeo. Yeah. So what would you say to a guy who's trying? I'm trying to run a 327.
I'll give it a shot. All right. You'll have a lot of people to run with. Like if you start out with a 330 pace group, I would say like stay with them until like 6 miles until you get back to Greektown. Okay. And then over the last 10 miles, then you could make up that 3 minutes. Yeah. But like it's really easy to overdo it and run like 10 seconds per mile too fast. Okay. The first 16 miles.
So should I keep it like? Should I hover around like 8 for quite a while and then?
Yeah, because like 8 will. If you went straight 8s, that would get you like 328.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Close to.
Yeah. So then like I wouldn't really worry about pushing until like very late into the race. Okay. Because you'll either have a lot to push with or very early you'll be like, oh, I'm struggling.
Yeah.
It's just it's so flat that like you die if you mess up, you can mess up by dying death 5,000 ways. Right? And so like as long as you just like keep it easy, be very conservative. The weather's gonna be really good tomorrow. You're gonna be like, oh, I'm ready to go. Just stay with your race plan at least till like mile 16.
Okay. Cool.
And then after that, I kind of packed up and got ready to meet my wife and daughter, who were just across the street at a coffee shop. And as soon as we got there, I said, I broke my selfie stick. We got to head to Best Buy. I got to get one before the race tomorrow. So I was on my feet for way longer than I should have. We were kind of going everywhere. It was not like that of much of a relaxing day. It was kind of hectic, but went over to the Best Buy with an Uber. Got a GoPro selfie stick, and then we headed back to the hotel. Got out and just hung out for a little bit. I got a shower and cleaned up for the day. And then after that, we decided that it was time to go find something to do with our daughter because she's 5 and this is a lot for her to go to like a city like Chicago when there are, hundreds of thousands of people in town for a race, and she was a good sport. So we headed over to the Shed Aquarium, and we spent the afternoon there checking out all the different sea animals, and we got to see their pretty legit dolphin show, and that was pretty cool. And then we headed back to the hotel for the night. We ended up having the same pizza that we had the night before. Actually, we went downstairs to the restaurant in the lobby, and I think I had chicken tenders and pretzel bites to try to carb up a little bit before the race. Headed back upstairs, took a shower, and then again just tried to hunker down and get comfortable. You don't sleep a whole lot before a race. I don't know how people do it, but I think I probably got 4 or 5 hours of sleep. You're just kind of anxious and ready to get going, and you're just so excited to put everything out there that you've been training for the last 2 or 3 months. So it's kind of hard to sleep, but got some sleep. So I woke up. I think I woke up at 6 o'clock. The race started at 7:30. They said that you should be in your corral by 5:30 a.m. And I talked to my running coach. She was like, no, you don't need to be in the corral that early. Like, you really just need to be where you want to be about 20 to 30 minutes before the race starts. So I thought, okay, if I get up at 6, I was, I think, 0.6 miles away from the start-finish line. So, it would take me like 15 minutes to walk over there. So I threw on this robe that we got at Target the night before, my racing gear underneath, and headed out. What did I have to eat in the morning? I think I had a granola bar, a banana, and that might have been it until I got to the start finish. And then I started having a Martin gel, with caffeine and maybe a graham cracker, I'm not sure. But anyways, got to the start-finish line, got in my corral, was able to get right up where I wanted to be. There was still plenty of space. People were warming up, stretching, generally is trying to keep warm. So I was good to go. I passed Thomas again from Believe in the Run on the way there, and it's so cool. I said, it's race day. He's like, hey, have a good race. Pat me on the shoulder. This is super cool. So that was a great way to start the day. Got to my corral, and in about, I know it was like a half hour, 45 minutes, but it felt like in 5 minutes it was time to go. So everyone's, stripping off their clothes, crumpling it up into a ball, tossing it over the fence, just getting ready. You try to stretch as much as you can. You try to gear up. I had gloves on, but other than that, it was just I was wearing Bandit. So I had some Bandit tights, a Bandit singlet. I decided to wear the Saucony Endorphin Elites for this run, which there will be a video about my overall feelings for that shoe, but that's the shoe I chose to run this marathon in, and the goal was to improve on Boston. So in April, I ran Boston in, I think, 3:41:22 was my first marathon, and I knew pretty close to Boston that I was going to be running Chicago, that was going to be number 2, and the goal was to... Honestly, my A goal was to do a sub 3:30. B goal was to hit what my coach had set out for me, which was the 3:30 number. And then C goal was just to do better than Boston. So I felt like with my fitness level, it was definitely possible to hit the A goal, but I just wasn't sure. My right hamstring had really been bothering me for about 3 weeks heading into the race. Even with the taper and even with some physical therapy, I wasn't quite able to work it all out. So you just kind of run with it. You're like, all right, that's going to be with me for the race, so let's do this. So we headed out, and the goal was to try to just maintain like an 8:05, 8:10 pace for the first 3 to 6 miles at least. And I, headed out. The crowds were phenomenal. Everyone was super excited. Smiles everywhere. My music worked this time. Did not work in Boston. So I had some jams going, and immediately just started. I wasn't running too fast, but I probably could have left a little bit more in the tank on those first few miles. So I think my first 5K ended up being close to the 24-minute mark, when I probably should have been closer to the 25-minute mark, but I was just having a lot of fun. So you head out. My first goal was to find my coach, Rachel. She said she was going to be around mile 1 marker, and I did find her right before I passed her. She didn't quite see me, so I yelled like, "Hey, Rachel!" and then she turned and saw me, and she gave me a good cheer, and it was so cool seeing her out on the course. I think I saw her 4 or 5 times. She was just moving around trying to find her runners, and I got really lucky that I ran into her a lot. The next point I was really looking forward to was mile 7 to 8. One of my good college friends, Michael, who lives in Chicago, said he was going to be anywhere between mile 7 and mile 8 on the course, which I'm not entirely familiar with Chicago. So, I got to mile 7. At that point, I'm just kind of looking back and forth on each side of the road, just trying to make sure I don't miss people, because there are people everywhere at that point, and I had talked to him the night before, like, hey, I'm going to look for you. And so it was really important for me to find him. So I'm looking back and forth. We're going around a long turn, heading west. And at the end of that turn, I could hear and see Michael off to my right. And I had started to pass him, and I was able to stop and turn around and give him a big hug. And whenever you see someone like that on the course, you get really excited. It lifts you up if you're hurting. If you're just cruising and you see someone like that, you start running faster for a couple of miles. It was just great to see him. He's always been a huge supporter of mine, a great friend. So that was really special. I really enjoyed that. Heading into like the midway point, we were back into like the heart of Chicago, starting to get into those skyscrapers and getting around the half marathon point. I could tell that I was still feeling pretty good. My leg was not bothering me at all at that point. Everything was warmed up and the blood was flowing and the crowds were great. So I was feeling pretty good. I was looking at my time. I think I came into the half marathon part around like 1:45, 1:46. Maybe even a little faster than that. And I thought, okay, I might be able to push it towards the end and definitely secure that that sub 3:30 time that I was really hoping for. And so felt really good past that point. And I think that's around the time that you start heading west, outside of the immediate downtown area, kind of towards the United Center where the Bulls play. And I think it's out there that I started to feel, I wouldn't say like sluggish, but I could start feeling the need to like try to actively stretch my legs and my hamstrings and my calves. You know, when I was starting to feel tight throughout. My goal with fueling was to hit every single water station, Gatorade station, and then also to take in a Martin's gel or a UCAN every 4 miles. That was always the goal. That's how I've trained on my long runs. It's every 4 miles or 45 minutes, whichever's first. And that was going just fine. But I did know that, you know, since I'm hitting every water station, every Gatorade station, that comes with slowing down and speeding back up. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that does take a toll on your legs after a while. If you're constantly slowing down and speeding up and slowing down and speeding up, you'll feel that after a little while. I was also just getting really into hyping up the crowds. So, you know, trying to get as close to everybody, give as many high fives. I was taking all the wide turns extra wide so that I could get in there with the people. And I knew that was just adding up over time too. Like, you don't want to take wide turns during a marathon. You want to make those as small as possible to cover more ground quicker, and shave off some time. And I certainly wasn't doing that, but I was just having so much fun out there. The crowds were phenomenal pretty much the entire way. And so I think when I got around mile 20 to mile 21, that's when I kind of noticed, like, ooh, this is going to be close. Like, it's not out of the question, but I'm also not feeling that I need to push at this point. So I think when you get to like mile 20 and 21 in a marathon, that's typically when everyone tells you to go ahead and turn on the the thrusters, give everything you got. You're down to 10K left to finish the race. It's all or nothing. You just go for it. And I mostly agree with that. But while we were out there, there were a lot of people that were dropping left and right to, they were, either hitting the wall or they were having cramps. There was one guy next to me. He was so strong. He was running so well. And then it's like somebody shot him in the leg. He just stopped and screamed out in pain. And I'm thinking, I want to make sure I get to the finish line. I want to feel strong. I don't necessarily want to push myself too hard and not make it to the end. That's, that this creeps into your mind when you're that close to the end. Like, I think, technically my fueling's correct. I feel pretty good as you can feel, like mile 24, like you can only feel so fresh. And I felt like that, but I was like, do I really want to accelerate too much here and possibly end up on the side of the road like some other people? So I think at that point, I wasn't really sure where I was going to finish. I was looking at my watch. A lot of people noticed that when they finished the race, they were like well over the 26.2 mileage, and I think it has to do with the skyscraper canyon and its effect on GPS and all the out and back turns that are part of the Chicago Marathon course. But I felt like it was going to be close. If I didn't know if I was going to be able to hit my A goal. And what I ended up running, I believe, was a 3:30:22. So I came really close to that A goal. And I have to say that, I've been running. I'm not like a lot of people that have like people in their family that were runners in high school and middle school. That they didn't grow up around that lifestyle, around a running community or the competitive part of the running community. That's not part of my upbringing. Nobody in my immediate family were involved in sports or anything like that. And so running has only been in my life for the last about 3 years, a little over 3 years now. And I finished my first marathon in April, which was the Boston Marathon. And everything I do now and I do going forward as a runner is something that I'm extremely grateful for, that I'm extremely proud of, and I'm extremely excited for. And so, yeah, I really wanted to hit a 3 sub 30. But at the same time, like, I was out in Chicago running with all these people, some of which I look up, I look up to, like, Kafuzi and Ben Parks, and seeing my coach out there, cheering me on, and other runners, and then also, at the finish line, seeing my wife and my daughter off to the left, cheering me on, and getting me over the hill. That's all you can ask for, especially for someone who is, very, very young in their running career. And so 3:30 is great. I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud that I was able to put that together for my second marathon, especially, not feeling 100% physically, kind of taking it easy out there and having fun with it, which is what it's all about. And so, I crossed the finish line, and I got my medal, and immediately started thinking about the next race, which unfortunately I wish I was sitting there soaking this up a little bit more. But I'm really, really proud of the race that I was able to put together. It was so much fun, seeing all the people out there, seeing all the different kinds of people out there, meeting some of my heroes. I can't describe what it's like to go up and meet someone that you watch, every day, and are taking notes from and taking tips from. And it's just it's such a privilege to be able to go out and make that happen. But I'm very conscious of the fact that I'm the one that makes that happen. I decided that I was going to run the Chicago Marathon. I decided that I was going to find and meet some of these people that I really wanted to meet them, and just have them in my vicinity for a little bit, and feel like I belong with them and in that situation. And that's what makes the running community so amazing, is it's everyone's welcoming, and everyone's having fun, and everyone's looking out for each other, and that's all you can ask for. So I had a blast. It was a lot of fun. We after the race, we went back to the hotel. I sat in the tub for a little bit. I put my Hyper Ice boots on for about a half hour. Those brought my legs back a little bit. And then we headed downstairs, and around the corner to Tracksmith, so I could get my finishers poster, that I wish I would have gotten in Boston, but the line was crazy. But I got the one in Chicago. And then what did we do? I think we just we went on a boat tour on the canal. So we waited a little bit longer, and then we headed down at the canal and went on a boat tour so that our daughter could see the water and see all the other buildings. And then from there we walked to Noodles and Company, and we had pasta for dinner. And then we headed back to the hotel and just chilled out for the rest of the night. Got up the next morning, went and got brunch. It was delicious. It was like down the street from where they shot the semi-flipping scene from The Dark Knight Batman movie. So that was pretty cool. And then we got packed up, and we headed back to Indiana, and by 4 p.m. we were home. So I've been taking the last week off, no running. I've done a couple of walks, but just kind of letting the legs recover and fill back in. So my next race will be Grandma's Marathon. That's not until June, I think. So I've got quite a bit of time before the next training block. The plan over the next few months is going to be to just work on my strength, my aerobic base, just try to level up as a runner, and also to keep trying different running shoes on and giving you guys my thoughts on those, growing this channel and this community. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments on what you'd like to see on this channel going forward. I will keep pumping out shoe reviews, but I'd also like to try some other stuff too. I just don't exactly know which avenue to turn onto next, and I'm still trying to figure that out. Anyways, guys, as always, thanks so much for supporting this channel. It means a lot. It means that I'm able to get out to other runners and people that are just like us. just like average runners like us that are just kind of taking life by the horns and taking it as far as we can. So as always, if you like this channel, please subscribe, like, comment below. I've got some more videos that I've got planned over the next week or two, and so we'll get those out soon. Stay healthy, and I'll catch you on the flip side.